years, we've traipsed around a good deal of the world. This passionate traveling has always been an end in itself, undertaken for its own sake. And while I sometimes thought I might write about where we went and what we saw, I never bothered to make notes or take pictures. Why dilute an experience by jotting down words for it? Why diminish great scenery by squinting at it through a viewfinder? In the spring of 1991, when Linn and I prepared to embark on our most ambitious trip, a walk from Toulouse over the Pyrenees and on via the ancient pilgrim route to Santiago de Compostela, I proposed a piece on our trek to an editor at the New York Times travel section. She was enthusiastic, and while we took no photographs, I did make a few notes along the way. And then when we got home, I found myself not at all interested in writing about it. We'd spent several months and had no end of adventures, and it had been a life-changing experience, and perhaps a spiritual one. But the last thing I wanted to do was turn it into a travel piece. I did write about the pilgrimage, years later, as a section of my walking memoir, step by step. But other travel did lead to essays and articles of one sort or another, and you'll find them here. One of them supplied the title for this book, or the first two words of it anyway. Hunting Buffalo recounts an extended quest we undertook, attempting to visit every city, town, hamlet, and wide place in the road with buffalo in its name. I certainly didn't begin the buffalo hunt with any intention of writing about it, but there came a time, several months into it, when we interrupted the adventure to make a trip to New York. While I was there, I borrowed a desk in the Playboy offices and wrote Hunting Buffalo. I showed it to my great friend Alice K. Turner, longtime fiction editor at Playboy, not because I was daft enough to think it was a possible Playboy article, but because Alice was the most perceptive reader I've ever known, and one with a good sense of media in the bargain. Maybe she could figure out where I might send the damned thing. She immediately suggested American Heritage, a market which would never have occurred to me, and I had my agent send it over to Richard Snow, and damned if he didn't snap it up. It led in time to some other pieces for the magazine. Among them, the overview of American mystery fiction included in The Crime of Our Lives. American Heritage is essentially gone now, although it lives on as a digital publication. And Alice Turner lives on too, in the hearts of everyone who had the good luck to know her. But we lost her in January of 2015, and the world grew a little darker, as it does. About the title. I don't remember where or when I heard or read about the hardy soul who had a box labeled Pieces of String Too Short to Save. For years I had it in mind as an ideal title for a book of odds and ends, but I wasn't the only one, and there are at least 2 such volumes presently on offer at Amazon, and it wouldn't astonish me to learn there are more. I'm not sure I actually believe there ever was a box so labeled, but what difference does it make? Here, though, is something that happened. Not to a friend, as is the stuff of urban legends, but to me. I was at the time living in an old farmhouse in New Jersey, a few miles from Lambertville and the Delaware River. The house kept needing work, and one thing about moving from an apartment to a home of your own is you can no longer pick up the intercom and call the super. You have to do it yourself. So I did things myself, insofar as I could, and in the course of so doing, I accumulated tools and hardware. And of course it all wound up in a jumbled mess. And of course I decided what I needed to do was organize it. Lots of luck. My life has always been a jumbled mess, and from time to time I decide I need to organize it. And, oh, never mind. Part of the jumble consisted of baby food jars, which I'd washed out and stashed because I figured they'd be handy for putting things in. So I began working my way through the ocean of nails and screws and washers and bolts and nuts and bits and pieces and doohickeys and whatchamacallits, putting each article in what seemed to be an appropriate jar.